should be recording.
24th of October, Rabbi Furst, Parsha, Hashavua with Rashi Noach.
Okay, good morning. Thank you, Lord. We mentioned the Rabbi Shlomo Furst here, Shiva Samanaki. Yerushalayim Kerev Zoom, Erev Shabbos Parshas Noach, Shana, Tavshin Pei Vav. Okay, yeah, as I said, any particular points you want to discuss on the Parsha? Otherwise, we can begin. So let's begin over here. That at the closing stages of humanity, we see that the Torah gives testimony on the depravity of humanity. That Perek Zion, take a look, Perek Zion, Posik Tes Zion, Zion Tes Zion. Would like to read.
Zion.
We there? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, we're here. I was in the wrong chapter.
Zion, Tess Zion.
Right.
V'habaim Zachar u'nekeva mikol basar ba'u ka'asher tziva oso Elokim v'yisgor Hashem ba'ado. Those that came, they came male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and Hashem closed off in front of him. And Rashi says, Hashem protected Noach so that they should not smash the ark. I guess that's the people. Hashem surrounded the ark with bears and lions, and they would kill from among those who attacked the ark.
So let's just stop and think about this. It's sort of when you read this whole parsha, it's sort of I wonder if a person can really read this parsha and not cry. I mean, you're reading about the whole destruction of humanity, absolute to the last 7 people of humanity, complete absolute destruction of humanity. How can you not cry over that? We tomorrow morning we're hearing Kriyas Torah. It's like any other portion of the Torah. Just get your leader, read about it, and go on. But if you think about what's being talked about, you'd be a bit should be a little bit emotional about it. I'm not sure why aren't we emotional about it. I don't know. Funny. I don't know why we're not emotional about it. Just let it go by. And here you see the depravity of humanity. Why? What was their interest in in destroying the teva? What were they after? What did they want to accomplish?
Hmm.
Yes, what? Tell me, if you were there, that's what you would have done also?
Nope.
I don't think so.
What was going on there? Well, who were these people? What were they after? What did they try to accomplish? They think they were going to get, if they were going to destroy the teva, they'd be any better off themselves?
But we all know stories about bullies.
Yeah, about what do you mean?
Um, what motivates a bully? I mean, a bully. What does he do? He causes pain and suffering to somebody that's weaker than him. Why does he do that? He doesn't get anything from it.
Right. Mm, So it was, so, I mean, we see that this behavior is not unusual,
Right.
right? Um, okay. Now, um, if you remember what it says here, let's see, I'm going to find you Gimel. Yeah, go back to Pasuk in Perek Vav, Pasuk Yud Gimel.
Let's see. Yud Gimel in Vav. Vayomer Elokim Lenoach Kates Kol Basar Ba Lifanai Ki Mal'ah Haaretz Hamas Mipnehem Vehinni Mash Pi Sam Es Haaretz. Hashem said to Noach, the end of all flesh has come before me. The earth is filled with robbery through them. And behold, I'm about to destroy them from the earth.
Right. So yeah, if you take it, very good. If you take a look at Rashi, there came in the middle of the Rashi. Well, you could do the whole Rashi. Still do the whole Rashi. No harm done.
The end of all flesh, wherever you find promiscuity, catastrophe comes to the world and kills both good and bad.
Hmm.
For the earth is filled with robbery. Their sentence was not sealed except on account of robbery. The earth, as from the earth, similar to it, when I depart the city, which means when I depart from the city. Literally, he fell ill, his legs, which means he fell ill from his legs. Alternatively, with the earth, for 3 tvachim of soil of the depth of the plow were dissolved and washed away.
Hmm.
Right, very good. So this ki mole haaretz chamas, but the chamas lo nichtav gezor dinam ela gezel. The the final decree wasn't sealed except for them except for gezel. So I'd like to try and relate this concept of gezel to this behavior that the Torah is revealing to us that was expressed at the very last moments of humanity. What again we're trying to understand, right? What was it? What was this seemingly crazy, absolute, nonsensical, idiotic attempt to destroy the Teva? Meaning, why in the world would they want to do such a thing like that? So I'm going to try. We're going to try. Let's think about it. Try and relate it to this concept of Gezel. Remember, so these people, this whole generation, humanity was guilty of Gezel, and that was what the final decree was signed for their destruction over, on the fact that they were robbers. So how how can we possibly relate this fact that they are robbers to this fact that we see their behavior in the very last moments was that they were bent insanely uh, on destroying the table? How can we come up with a parallel connection between the two?
Hmm.
I think that to try and do that, we have to try and go into the mentality, the psychology of a Goslin. What's the psychology? What's the world view of a Goslin? Any ideas? Ever thought of the about the psychology of a Goslin? Can take courses in criminal psychology, right, Lou Pastama?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
I
I
guess.
don't, I don't know if that's for the benefit of the lawyers and the judges or for the criminals.
Lawyers and judges. Uh, well, I mean, a Goslin is kind of like a bully. Um, but in the case of a bully, it seems nonsensical. But in the case of a Goslin, it makes sense. He wants what the guy has. He wants what the other person has. And
The other, yeah,
if he
go
deems
ahead.
himself to be stronger, he's going to take it.
Right. So yeah, the Goslin is interesting in taking which does something which doesn't belong to him. Someone else has something which he doesn't have, and he's willing to force it out of the other person, one way or the other. That's it's the opposite of chesed, right? Chesed is you have something and somebody else needs that thing that you have, and through the beneficence of your heart, the generosity of your heart, so you benefit the other person with what you have. That's doing chesed. Right? Gezel is the opposite of that. Gezel is that he doesn't have it and he wants it, and at the other person's expense, he's going to take it away from the other person in order in that he can benefit from it. All right. But here in this case, it's a little bit more extreme because by the Goslin, you can say the person that Goslin is taking from the other person, so he should benefit from what the other person has, and it'll become his, and he'll benefit. But what possible benefit is there in the destruction of the teva?
Mm.
The, we can see that, okay, so they were Gazlanim. So everyone in the whole generation was steeped in the philosophy, if you don't have it, excuse me, the whole generation was steeped in the philosophy, if I don't have it and you've got it, I'm going to take it from you. That was their motto of life. If you've got it and I don't, I'm going to take it from you. So there's the additional statement that I'm going to take it from you and benefit from what you have. Here, by the destruction of the teva, you're not going to benefit. I'm not going to benefit either. So that's that violates logic already. Right? That violates logic. At least you can say there's a logic to the Goslin. He wants to benefit from what someone else has, so he's going to take it. It's obviously illegal, but like I told you, if I have a friend, um, he's a criminal lawyer, so once he was involved with a case, so the defendant he had been just convicted for bank robbery. So the judge, before he gave his sentence, he wanted to know from the criminal, from the bank robbery. So he asked him, "Why did you rob the bank?" So I says, "Because that's where the money is." He wanted the money. The bank has money. He took the money. That's what he wanted. Say so. So this question we're asking is, why did they want to destroy the ark? Why did they want to destroy the ark?
Mm.
What could possibly be motivating these doomed criminals to destroy the ark, to destroy Noah, to destroy the last remnant of humanity?
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Okay. So maybe it has to do with this concept that what the other person has and he doesn't have. Meaning, what could be the real motivation of a gazan? Is it simply to get what the other person has that he doesn't have, or just to make sure that the other person doesn't have what he doesn't have? Could be different motivations for different types of robbers.
Hmm.
The normal robber is that he wants to get something from somebody else so he could benefit from it. But here that's not going to be the case. It's not going to be the case with the last moments of humanity. Um, it could be that they simply, at that point, they simply, they simply did not want anybody to survive. Meaning, if they were going to survive, they didn't want anybody to survive. What kind of a psychology is that? Any idea, Mir? They don't. He's not going to survive. If I'm not going to survive, I want them to survive.
Hmm. Well, it's like there's a parallelism. It's I think what you were talking about before. It's like someone wants something that someone else has, so they'll want to take it from them.
Right.
Maybe it'll be beneficial to them. I don't know. Uh, I was thinking the only thing beneficial maybe about the ark to these people would be the wood. Either they could build something if they do, or use it for fire, maybe.
Well, I mean, they could be drowned in moments. They're all going to be drowned. There's not much.
Well,
No
did
time
they?
for barbecue.
That was my question. Did they know that? Did
Oh
they,
yeah, Noah's been telling them it's for 120 years. He's been telling them there's a flood coming. There's a flood coming.
oh,
Yeah. They knew what was coming for them. They knew they were doomed.
wow.
No time for barbecues anymore. Barbecues are
No,
over.
that's correct.
Closed for the season.
Correct.
So I mean, you see such a thing also. There are many stories that in the death camps in the crematoria of the Germans of Makshimam that they were from Yidden. They wanted to make a minyan. They wanted to do various mitzvahs. Even under harsh and almost impossible conditions, and sometimes they needed other people to help. But the many times the non-religious, e- even at the very end, they wouldn't buckle under. They would starve for the minyan. They wouldn't help to do a mitzvah. That was maybe their last opportunity to do anything worthwhile in this world, and it was so entrenched in their lies and false beliefs that they couldn't change themselves to to join in with the religious act, which
Hmm.
could have been their whole passageway to Olam Haba. In spite of that, they many times, I mean, sometimes I think they did do tshuva in the end, but many times there are many stories where people simply they were so entrenched in their false and corrupt ideas and beliefs that they wouldn't, under any circumstances, think to change.
Hmm.
So you see this that even at the very moments of the last last sparks of humanity's existence, those were Shoyim, the the you couldn't change. It was impossible for it to change. Right? To-
Wow.
Now another that other question, the why don't we get I wonder sometimes why don't we get emotional over the destruction of humanity? After all, when you think about the loss of a city, the loss of even one life, people cry, people become emotional. You're talking about the whole destruction of humanity, right? And we seem to read through it without any real attachment, without any real emotion. Well, first of all, maybe it's so far removed from us, we don't really relate to it. But still, you put yourself into it a little bit and realize it. Here, Kadosh Baruch Hu is now decreeing upon humanity destruction, and he's carrying it out. It seems like a moment, at least a moment for some type of an emotional connection. So it could be. I was thinking maybe it could be if you have a Perky Avos nearby at the beginning of the fifth parak. This was something we learned before. Beginning of the fifth parak.
Okay. It's the first mission.
First Mishnah. Yeah, you would like to read that, Maggie? Go ahead, please.
Okay. So it says, okay, so small. Okay, with 10 utterances, the world was created. What does this come to teach us? Indeed, could it not have been created with one utterance? This was to exact punishment from the wicked who destroy the world that was created with 10 utterances, and to bestow a goodly reward upon the righteous who sustain the world that was created by 10 utterances.
So yeah, that's all right. Very good. So this statement, right? This statement about the Rishoyim. So what do you see about the Rishoyim?
Well, they don't seem to care how much effort was put into the creation of the world or creation of anything. It's just like we were looking at Noah. They didn't seem Noah was creating to help preserve the world, and they just didn't care. They just acted the way they usually do.
Right. So I think that gives a bit of a clue exactly to what's going on there. Exactly.
I mean, I thought I once heard, I don't know the source, probably from the Torah, maybe even, I don't know, that Hashem gave man, I don't know the right word, I guess, the power to choose good or to choose evil.
Correct.
For some reason, everyone except Noah chose evil.
Right. So yeah, I mean that had a lot to do with why there was a destruction because it became so habituated, right, to doing the evil. It was not possible to make any corrections.
Yeah, I guess Hashem thought there'd be a mix of of good and bad, but that didn't really happen. It's very lopsided.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. Um,
I mean,
um,
wasn't one of the first Noahide commandments, not one of them, I don't know which one, was to set up I don't know if it's the right word, a legal system.
yeah, that's right. That's one of the seven. Right.
So that's very basic to mankind.
Right. Right. So as we said many times that also based on the first parak in Pirkei Avos that al shlosha devarim ha'olam oimed al Torah avoda v'gemilos chasadim. So if there's not going to be these three foundations, these are like three pillars, right? Torah is a pillar, gemilos chasadim is a pillar, and avoda is a pillar. If these things don't exist, then the whole uh, existence ceases ceases to function.
Hmm.
And Gezel Hamas, Gezel is the opposite of Gemilas Chasadim. Right? That's what we mentioned before. So
Right.
this concept of the fact that they were Gazlanim went and eroded and finally toppled that pillar of Gemilas Chasadim. Once that pillar of Gemilas Chasadim fell, so the world also fell.
Right. But wasn't it Hilla who said treat your neighbor like yourself?
Right? Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah, that's true.
if you do that, you can have a solid foundation for a community.
Right. These things are absolutely necessary.
Mhm.
You don't have that, you lose everything.
That's correct.
So, okay. Now as to so we see that these people were clearly Rishoyim. And so now maybe just to try and answer the question, why don't we feel a little bit more emotionally moved by the destruction of all these people? I mean, we don't have any conception how many people were there, how many millions. I don't know. No, we have no conception how big the population of the world was at that time. Um, but there's a Gemara in Sanhedrin, Mishnah in Sanhedrin. The Gemara goes into details that the destruction of the Rishoyim is good for them and it's good for the world. It was actually a benefit. There was a benefit for them to be destroyed. the two benefits, one, it's a benefit for them, and secondly, it's a benefit for the world, is that it's a benefit for them because as long as they exist, if they're going to be doing sins, they're just getting deeper and deeper into debt with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. They're sinning and sinning and sinning, and there's no stop to it. So by destroying them, at least it puts a stop to their sinning. That's one of the reasons on Rosh Hashanah, right? There are two Kadosh Baruch Hu judges Klal Yisrael during the daytime, because during the daytime we're doing mitzvahs. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu judges the Goyim on Rosh Hashanah at nighttime when they're sleeping and they're not doing sins.
Oh,
So it's to their benefit that the Rishoyim, even though they're Rishoyim, it's to the benefit that they don't do sins. So by
wow.
eliminating, destroying them, they won't be doing sins at least. And obviously, it's a benefit for the world because they are now not causing trouble in the world.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Okay, very good. Let's see here. Oh, this is something which is worthwhile. Let's take a look here. Let's start reading from these psukim over here. It would be Perek Ches, Pasuk Vav. We'll start reading the psukim and then we'll go through some specific Rashis.
Okay. Okay, so it says, and it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. He sent out the raven, and it kept going and returning until the drying of the waters from upon the earth. And he sent out the dove from him to see whether the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove did not find a resting place for the sole of its foot, and returned to him to the ark for water upon the surface of the earth. Okay, so he put forth his hand, and he took it and brought it to him to the ark. And then he waited again another 7 days, and again sent out the dove from the ark. The dove came back to him in the evening, and behold, an olive leaf it had plucked with its mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had subsided from upon the earth. Wow. And he made himself wait again another 7 days and sent the dove forth. And it did not return to him anymore. So let's see. Oh, so here's just, I guess, a description of the years. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, on the first of the month, the waters had dried up upon the earth. Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and behold, the surface of the ground had dried. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. So I guess it took another 27 days for the certainly the topsoil and what's beneath it, I guess, to dry too.
Right.
Wow. So I wonder why it says that the Let me just go back a second from Vav. Yeah, he sent out a raven and it kept going and returning until the drawing of the waters from the earth. I'm wondering why, if the raven didn't return, why he didn't see that the earth, or at least part of it, was dry.
We're talking about we're talking about the raven or the
Yeah,
dove?
the raven. No, I'm talking about if Noach saw, um, he sent out the raven, and I guess it didn't return. Well,
I think the raven didn't want to go out, didn't want to leave.
oh. Oh, so it says Vayetze so, and it kept going. Oh, and Vashuv, and returning. Hmm. Maybe I'm wondering. I don't know too much about biology. I'm wondering if ravens are uh, um, the opposite of herbivores, carnivores.
I believe they
Mm,
are.
Yeah,
I'm
so
pretty sure they are.
it kept returning because it couldn't find food, I guess. Well,
Right.
that's good idea.
the dove would eat the olive branches or whatever, grass, seeds, whatever it could find.
All right.
Mm.
Um, 1 second, Zion. Look at the Rashi, and Rashi explains why the raven didn't go out, didn't leave. Take a look in Zion, Rashi there in Zion,
Rashi and Zion. Okay, 1 second.
You're talking about chapter Zion?
and no pasuk
Chapter
Zion.
8, Chet,
Chapter Het, Pasuk Zion.
right. So Rashi says on Yatzov Vashuv, going and returning, going and making a circuit around the ark. Oh, I see. But it did not go on its mission, for it was suspicious of Noach. Wow. With regard to its mate, as we have learned in the Egotic section of Chalik. Wow. And that was so let's see, Voshet Hamayim, until the drawing of the waters. Its simple meaning is as it sounds, but an Egotic midrash um, says the raven was prepared for another mission when the rains were held in the days of Elijah, as it says, and the ravens were bringing him bread and meat. Wow.
Right. That, that was excuse me. That was the raven was suspicious. But
Hmm.
the Yonah now let's try and look at the next Rashi on this point about the Yonah. What did the Yonah do? Oh my
Oh,
goodness,
okay.
that's in
An 8. Okay. So he says, and he sent out the dove. At the end of 7 days, after he had sent out the raven, for it is written, and he waited another 7 days. From the implication of this word another, you learn that at first, sending out of the dove two, he had waited 7 days.
Right. So Noach was patient. He wasn't rushing. He wanted to check very carefully. Let's continue on with the next Rashi.
Okay. And it says, and he sent out. This does not mean being sent on a mission. Rather, it means sending away. He sent it off to go on its way. And through this, he would see if the waters had subsided. Were it to find a resting place, it would not return to him. Oh.
Interesting. Why wouldn't it return? What about its mate? Doesn't it have a mate that it wants to remain with? Why would it not return?
That's actually a good question. I don't know, unless finding a resting place, a home, would be more important. Or maybe it thought the mate would eventually join him. I don't really know, but it's a good question.
Trying to figure out the psychology of the pigeon, right?
Right.
Uh-huh.
Well, you wonder about that, because even when you walk the streets in Jerusalem here, you see all
Yes.
these birds,
Right.
and they're pecking at the ground, but they seem to be ignoring each other. They don't really care about each other.
Right. Everyone's interested in their own breadcrumbs.
Right.
But supposedly the pigeons are supposed to be very loyal. They're supposed to be, they're supposed to remain with each other and such. Interesting. Interesting. All right, something to think about. Good. Okay. A few things that there's a lot more that these parshas are very fundamental. Um, let's see. I'm going to be sending out a document either later today or early, maybe Motzei Shabbos. So next week we'll be starting at 9 o'clock schedule, if I'm not mistaken. Correct?
Right. Okay.
Okay. So the first year, I'm going to start. We'll start learning. I'd like to learn the Tana de Eliyahu with you. Tana de Eliyahu is attributed to the Medrashim of that were taught in the base Medrash of Eliyahu Navi.
Oh,
So it's Chazal, straight Chazal, and we'll go through it. We'll try and understand the Pasha Pshat, and we'll try and go into it, think about the concepts they're teaching us, and we'll see as far as we can go with it, Mitzvah Hashem.
okay. Sounds good.
Very good. Okay,
Tana
thank
de
you, Ted.
Eliyahu.
We'll should both have a good Shabbos, and hope to see you again Yom Rishon, bright and early at 9 o'clock, hopefully.
Okay. Have a good Shabbos, Rabbi Furst.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Bye now.
Shalom. Bye-bye.